take milk time. It's just make take milk time. Yeah, I tell you, we had a bit of that up in Port Moresby.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good meeting.
Where was it Moresby?
The time wasn't anything. We were about to be, have water lapping at your hands. Yeah.
Hi there, my name's Michael Badrock. Welcome to the first episode of Profiles In Sincerity. Charities and non-for-profit organisations are an essential part of our society. We all know about Amnesty International, who defend human rights, or Lifeline, who provide suicide prevention services and mental health support. But the non-for-profit organisation that I want to talk to you about today is the AFL.
You make the extraordinary, the spectacular, and the delicious, because you make the game Australia's game.
Yes, Australia's game. Look, the AFL, along with all sporting clubs and associations, are non-for-profits. There are two key conditions for this. One, they exist to encourage the growth of the sport, and two, that they do not operate for anyone's profit or personal gain. Now, one main privilege of being a non-for-profit organisation is that they pay zero tax. Strangely enough, not many people seem to know that the AFL is a non-for-profit. It's almost as if they're trying to hide something. That's why I'd like to talk to you about the AFL and its partnership with betting agencies. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with betting agencies. You might have seen them being advertised online or on your TV, maybe in your newspapers or on your social medias, perhaps down at your local sporting clubs, or even when you're walking down a street. You might see a billboard advertising yet another betting agency, and then you look to the heavens in despair, only to see that there's skywriting that says Bet365, and at this point you realise that betting is literally everywhere. Look, betting is rampant in footy. In 2016, the AFL signed a 5-year, $50 million deal to make CrownBet their official betting partner. But it'd be rude of me to ignore Unibet, Bet365, Ladbrokes, William Hill, Centrebet, BetEasy, Sportsbet, Neds, GTBets, PalmerBet, UBet, MyBookie, XBet, TopBetter, BetStar, Betfair, SportsChamps, TAB, Moneyball, PointsBet, and apparently many more who are all betting partners of the AFL. Now, the question that I'd like to put to you is this. The AFL is meant to exist for the betterment of our game of Australian rules football. So where does gambling fit into all this? Recently, Mike Sheen interviewed former Richmond and Western Bulldogs player Nathan Brown. Now, Sheen asked Brown how he felt about betting agencies relentlessly advertising and how it might impact our kids. Take a look.
Betting used to be, well, it should be. It's a fun thing that you do with your mates, where you go down to the pub or you go and put a quaddie on, and it's become thought of as something different because there are so many betting ads on. But I'm going to give my kids every bit of knowledge I possibly can for them to make the right decision. Am I going to say to my kid, I don't want you to gamble? No, he's going to make his own decisions. If he wants to go down to the pub with his mates and put a quaddie on, I mean, I'm not going to say not to. I think it's part of the Australian culture to have a punt.
You know what? Brownie's got a point there. In fact, my mum's been having a go at me for smoking for years. Well, listen here, Mum. There's a hell of a lot of cigarette companies around, and they all do the same thing. Smoking was, or should be, a fun thing you do with your mates. You go down to the pub, you have a beer and a ciggy. It's become thought of as something different because there are so many smoking ads on. But I'm going to give my kids every bit of knowledge I possibly can for them to make the right decision. Am I going to say to my kids, I don't want you to smoke? No. He's going to make his own decisions. If he wants to go down to the pub and have a ciggy, I'm not going to say no to him. It's part of the Australian culture. Look, it seems that Nathan Brown is shrugging off betting as being all about hanging out with your mates. But it's more than that. Betting is trying to infiltrate every aspect of our culture.
But he says this.
Bet he doesn't.
I bet it's a girl.
Nah, I bet it's a boy.
It's a boy and a girl.
Bet we don't get in.
I bet you do now.
Want to bet? Unibet. By punters, for punters. Please gamble responsibly.
Now, let's be real here for a second. The way betting agencies portray gambling as just a bit of fun with your mates becomes a little bit twisted when you look into the facts and the figures. People with gambling problems are 4 times more likely to suffer from alcohol abuse. A study led by the Problem Gambling and Research and Treatment Centre reported that over half of the people presenting themselves at gambling counselling services reported family violence. Last year, Australian gamblers lost $24 billion to gambling. As many as 500,000 Australians are either problem gamblers or at risk of becoming problem gamblers. This is a big, big problem. This is what the AFL, a non-for-profit organisation, is partnering up with. Seems like a bit of a weird combination, doesn't it? That'd be like naming a swimming pool after Harold Holt. And look, the way AFL pays zero tax is because the idea is that $1 in the hand of a non-for-profit can do greater social good than in the hands of the government. In the decade leading up to 2016, the AFL yielded over $330 million in tax concessions. But where did all that money go? It's virtually disappeared. It's almost as if the AFL has a gambling problem. Look, I can just imagine the CEO of the AFL, Gillan McLachlan, sitting down with Daniel Andrews. Daniel, please, I know paying $600,000 to Meatloaf for that grand final wasn't the best idea. And maybe, AFLX, it didn't really work out. And hey, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have played that footy game in Shanghai, but I swear if you give me just a little bit more money, I swear I'll make it worth it.
It was all part of a near $500 million sporting investment by Daniel Andrews with a huge injection for the AFL.
A deal that is great for footy, for jobs, for construction, for tourism and major events.
Under the agreement, Etihad Stadium will undergo a $225 million overhaul with a new hotel, ballroom and retail complex.
For football fans, and I think for sports lovers, this is a really great deal.
Also included $242 million to regional and suburban grounds. The AFLW gets $20 million for refurbishment at Princes Park, plus upgrades to the Whitten Oval, Victoria Park and Casey Fields.
You know, seeing how the state government dishes out all this cash to the AFL has got me thinking. What is it that the AFL actually does? Now, don't laugh. No, I'm being serious. I don't know. I've been researching this for weeks. I don't have an answer. But hey, if you have any information, then you should call this number at the bottom of our screen. If you have any information on what it is that the AFL actually does, we will offer you a $50 free bonus bet. But you've got to call this number at the bottom of your screen ASAP. This will only apply to our first 10 callers. Gamble responsibly. So, the question remains, what does Gillan McLachlan actually do that warrants him being paid $1.7 million a year? And that's before his bonuses. The average AFL administrator's pay has gone up by 40% in the last decade. It is true that players' wages have grown significantly as well. However, only 53 of the game's 800 AFL players earn as much or more than the average AFL executive. It's weird. It's almost as if the AFL is being run for the personal gain of these executives at the AFL. Of course, I can't confirm that. But if I were a betting man, I know where my money would be. Now look, we've got all the facts and figures. We should be offering the AFL a shot at redemption. Like, remember when Wayne Carey assaulted his girlfriend and kicked a police officer in Miami? Now, we didn't just banish Carey from national television forever just because he left lacerations in his girlfriend's neck. No, we gave him a job at Channel 7. That's because Wayne took time to repent and look within himself. This is a matter that Wayne Carey takes deeply seriously. We all have our regrets. It's not like he'd look back on his time in Miami and laugh about it, right?
Players like Vickery, who came in and thought, I'm just going to jump on this gravy boat and play a role.
Say that again.
What?
A gravy boat.
Why can't there be a gravy boat as well?
There'd be a train.
Gravy train.
That makes me laugh.
You know that. By the way, where'd they get that photo from?
Miami, I think.
Okay, we've asked the big audience out there at Talking Footy, Sam, to fire their best questions of Dane. What have you got?
Miami, I think. Miami, I think.
Sam, to fire their best questions of Dane. What have you got?
Jesus Christ, that was hard to watch. Oh, look, I'll be honest. I don't just find it hard to watch Wayne Carey on TV. I also find it hard to watch footy in general. And it's not just because every week I have to watch Dermot Brereton descend deeper and deeper and deeper into his midlife crisis. It's because everywhere I look, there are betting ads. It's absurd. And in every ad, whether televised or in print, there will always be that phrase, gamble responsibly. And it'll either be mumbled or it'll be written in some minuscule, obscure font. As if this will do the trick in helping out people with gambling problems. Like that could actually work. Or maybe it does work. Maybe that's how Wayne Carey got rehired at Channel 7. Can you imagine? Look guys, I'm a dual premiership player and 7-time All-Australian. I also assaulted my ex-girlfriend. But hey, you guys know I'm loyal. Like, I wouldn't go and ditch you and leave for Channel 9 or anything like that, although I did sleep with my best mate's wife. This is not how the world works. It's hard to call the AFL a non-for-profit organisation when they're joined at the hip with betting agencies. Never forget, the very existence of betting agencies entirely rely on profit, and your loss is their gain. My name's Michael Badrock. Thanks for watching Profiles In Sincerity.